Hello, many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. Office of the Prime Minister today organized an Each One Feed One event for low-income people residing in the vicinity of the National Palace. During the program, the low-income earning guests were given vegetables produced on the office's backyards, as well as farming equipment created from recyclable materials. Alemtsahai Paulo, State Minister with the Office of the Prime Minister, encouraged participants to use their experience from seeing the urban farming activities within the premises and become part of the urban farming initiative by producing their own food. The Security and Intelligence Joint Task Force disclosed that it has detained 76 individuals suspected of inciting violence during Monday's Eid festivity around the Addis Ababa Stadium. Saying the suspected in custody have attempted to create havoc on Monday, the task force emphasized that they have been deployed by internal and external enemies of the country with hidden agendas. Shagau Yamatau has the following account.
The Security and Intelligence Joint Task Force disclosed that the damage on properties around the Retirer Martyrs Memorial Museum and the Addis Ababa Stadium was a result of violence during the Eid al-Fitr celebration in Addis Ababa on Monday. The Joint Task Force announced that 76 individuals who were at the forefront in violence have been placed under police custody. Violence ensued and stones were thrown on security forces while the faithful were worshipping. Investigation is underway to identify the cause of the conflict, the task force said, adding it will disclose the findings to the public. Monday's havoc happened despite adequate preparations by security forces, it said, denouncing some individuals and groups serving hidden agendas of the internal and external enemies. The task force said the suspects carried provocative banners, warning the public to stay alert. The task force pledged to come up with its findings within the next few days.
A journalist explained that some Western media and U.S. officials have supported terrorist TPLF, accepting its fabricated ethnic division narratives at the expense of the reality on the ground in Ethiopia. Having a stay with Remix Morning Show, journalist Hermila Aregawi said that the northern conflict in Ethiopia has been erroneously reported by some Western mainstream media, setting the truth aside. Based on this, the CNN, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch accused the government of Ethiopia and the Ethiopian people of doing wrong, standing by the side of the terrorist group. Aregawi said this partisan Western media and their governments have been supporting the terrorists, though they know that the conflict was purely provoked by the TPLF itself attacking the Northern Command base in Tigray from the outset. She further stated that the terrorist TPLF and its allied media have been accusing the government of committing genocide in Tigray, but it is quite far from the reality.
We are in Kesergio, but they call it New York because all the tourists that come here say looks like New York because of, you know, the high skyscrapers of buildings and stuff, but
HR 6600 and S3199 are both said to be bombshells meant to send Ethiopia down the abyss. This came here today when diaspora community leaders from Australia and the US, Sheraz Siddiqui and Said Tas, reflected on the punitive builds. The leaders called upon Ethiopians to intensify the struggle against the passage of the builds. Take a look at the story.
As we speak, Ethiopia is in the midst of challenges coming from overseas, including the HR 6600 and S3199. Despite the fact that CDK, as you know, it's been postponed, there are still challenges. So what lurking challenges do you see?
So when the bills were proposed, right away we got united with the Ethiopian Americans and the community across the world, even with my dear friend Mr. Tess Sayed. He got Australian Ethiopian United as well in a stand against it, because this bill will have a negative impact on a diplomatic relationship of Ethiopia and America and with different countries as well, but directly with America. So what we are doing, we are just going against it in a peaceful manner and showing the true picture to Congress, to the people in America, that what's been portrayed is not right.
So, Syed, what lurking dangers do you see, because now that these bills have been postponed, do you see any threats maybe?
Yes, definitely. I can see a serious threat to diplomatic relations.
Yeah.
And this bill is not fair. It's not fair for, I think it should be fair for all Ethiopians. I became aware of this bill as soon it was introduced, and it's definitely not fair. So we're doing our best to unite the community against this bill, and we will try to the best we can do to stop this bill going through further. But I believe if it's gone through, amendment is necessary in this bill.
How are the reactions of Ethiopians in the United States of America?
They were very unhappy, with this bill being, because the way the bill was designed, and they were like, how could you undermine so many people? Why not see the true picture and establish the good relationship that we already have and work towards in a positive manner? So they were very concerned about it, but what we did is doing it in a positive manner, peaceful rallies, peaceful protests, in DMV area, Houston, Texas, and writing letters. Like we personally, me and my team and people, we wrote more than close to 298 letters to Congress members addressing the correct issues, concerns, and how this bill will have a negative impact not only on Ethiopians, but also in the United States' image in Ethiopia and across the world as well. So we've been working on that very strongly.
One of the challenges that not only Ethiopia, but the whole continent of Africa is facing is that they have, a negative image in other parts of the globe, including Australia, right? So in this regard, what are some of your activities in order to create, the right image, to popularize the right image of Africa?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is true.
Yeah.
But the real image of Africa it's not portrayed in Western media.
Yeah.
So I can speak of Australia, but I've been here in Ethiopia, and I see how beautiful this country is, how beautiful people are. So again, we're recreating this powerful social media platform where we're trying to unite all Africans living in Australia and Australians as well to come to this country, visit it, spend time here. It's not like what they shown on TV. Right. It's totally different.
Are there any activities that you are doing in this regard, to create a positive image of it?
See, first thing is awareness of truth. So the events that I have, the events that I go to and I speak, the first thing I do show the true picture of Ethiopia. The peace and love and the stability, and what is shown on the media is totally different.
Yes.
So I've been involved for a lot of years, and now we have in Houston, Texas, we have a African Day that is coming next month.
Yeah.
So I will be representing Ethiopia there,
okay,
as a symbol of peace, stability, and welcoming. So that's something that I'm doing, and I'm very much involved in the community events for almost 20 years
Yeah.
in Ethiopian situations too, like Ethiopian Americans. I've been friends with them, I've been involved with them, I've been helping them as much as I can for more than 20 years, not only in Texas, but across the United States and across the world.
Okay.
That's the reason we are actually, me, him, and we have a few other people from Pakistan also joining officials. We will go to Turkey to show the true picture and the true image and share our experience together, what we experienced here, the hospitality, the great welcoming behavior, and what they show on the media is totally different what the actual image is. So that's why we're going there.
Talking about media, I think they are still, propagating this erroneous information. Some of the media, of course.
Of course, some medias, they work as a private entity in the Western world, and their motive is to drive profit and something that sells, which is unfortunately, it's not a good thing.
Yes.
And that needs to be addressed. And we actually, myself, we had a little peaceful protest against fake news. So even in Houston, even in DMV area, even in Maryland. And one of my dear friend, Mr. Antenna, who was very active in the community in Ethiopian American Center in Maryland, also took a part in that too.
All right.
Welcome back, and apologies for the interruption due to technical errors. The anniversary of establishment of Luban Workshop in Ethiopia has been celebrated colorfully. The program has been held via webinar at Tianjin University of Technology and Education in China and Ethiopian Technical and Vocational Training Institute at the same time. The Ethiopian Engineering Practice Innovation Project, EPIP Research Center, a Technical and Vocational Training Institute, and China-Africa Industrial Robot Technology Friendship Competition has been launched on the program. Teshale Berecha, Director General of the Ethiopian Institute of Technical and Vocational Training, and Zhang Jingjiang, Chairman of the School Affairs Committee of Tianjin University of Technology and Education, delivered their opening remarks. They highly affirmed the achievements of one-year operation of the Luban Workshop in Ethiopia and the technical support that has been provided by the team of experts of the colleges and universities for the skill training and teaching resources. The EU IGAD COVID-19 response program is said to be playing a pivotal role in reducing complications related to the COVID-19 pandemic in the Eastern Africa region. The new action will increase access to health, water and sanitation services and improve the health response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the region. A trilateral memorandum of understanding was signed between Ethiopia, the Ministers of Health of Djibouti and IGAD to fight COVID-19 pandemic. Habtamu Ashagre brings us up to speed.
The COVID crisis has cast its dark shadow in the IGAD region at the worst time, as it came on the top of problems of weak, fragile status, lack of capacity, widespread poverty, insecurity, conflict, and desert locust invasion. Many of the member states are also under economic stress and have significant vulnerable population. A trilateral memorandum of understanding was signed between Ethiopia, the Ministry of Health of Djibouti, and IGAD to fight COVID-19 pandemic.
And this is a very historic and milestone for IGAD member states. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Ethiopia underlined the need for cooperation as a key factor in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Throughout the pandemic in the past 2 years, we have seen strong coordination, collaboration, and solidarity have been key features for stronger response of many countries and globally. The Travel and Border Health Directorate at the Ethiopian Public Health Institute has been taking measures to prevent the cross-border spread of COVID-19 and other emergency outbreaks.
Educating travelers, drivers, and the community segments are also playing an important role in arresting the spread of COVID-19 pandemic across the country. Home to 5 of the 15 countries ranked at the world's highest risk in terms of exposure of pandemics, the COVID-19 severely affected the people in the IGAD region. For its part, the regional bloc says it has been alertly working to reduce the negative impact of COVID-19.
The IGAD will be handing over today over the vital life-saving medical vehicles to the Ministry of Health, and also signing the memorandum of understanding of the vaccination of truck drivers, which is basically between Djibouti and Ethiopia, and will be entering into the medicine testing quality assurance agreement with the Food and Drug Authority.
This is in line with the severest risks and dangers awaiting the region. The region saw no less than 1,200 deaths in the year 2020, as confirmed cases kept rising in all the 8 member countries.
The ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe, political instability, drought and flooding in our own region here in IGAD, and the coronavirus never went away and is in fact plotting comeback, as evidenced by the worrying situation in China and with the new Omicron variant.
The IGAD has provided health facilities and ambulances to its member states to alleviate health complications.
Welcome back again. The Ethiopian Ministry of Revenues expressed the confidence that it has been conducting a fair distribution of common revenues of the country among regional states based on the latest apportioning formula. Representatives from regional states also said the revised revenue collection and distribution mechanism is paying them off. Daniel Kasahun has the rest of the story. Take a look.
The Minister of Revenues is applying the revised revenues collection and distribution strategy, which helped it raise its revenues. This in turn has made it easier to distribute revenues among regional states with increased figures and in a fair manner. Representatives from regional revenues bureaus said the improved common revenue collection and distribution mechanism is paying them off.
The regional states are the main drivers of the economy. Thus, revenue is generated from the smallest units all the way up to the zones and then the regional state. But in all this endeavor, transparency was lacking, creating room for grievances. The newly applied budget allocation formula is paying dividends.
The previous budget allocation formula, which the nation used for as long as 23 years, was revised last year by the House of Federation.
With the introduction of the newly announced budget distribution formula, regional states are witnessing an upward growth in their revenues. The formula has fetched a net gain of 40% more than we used to.
Joint efforts by the Minister of Revenues and the Customs Commission have borne fruits, helping bring these remarkable results.
Federal institutions have seen a sharp rise in revenues. This trend needs to be maintained, but it is important that auditing be done so that we are all held accountable and the public judges it.
The Ministry of Revenues disclosed that it has managed to collect over 248.6 billion from tax and duty over the past 9 months of the current Ethiopian fiscal year.
And now take a look at the latest foreign exchange rates. From across